Joanna Dennehy.
Have you heard about Joanna Dennehy? Born August 1982, St. Albans, United Kingdom. Her father Kevin worked as a security guard, while her mother, Kathleen, was a shop manager. Kevin and Kathleen had 2 daughters together. Joanna and Maria, her sister, enjoyed a secure and, in all accounts, had a happy childhood. Side note, Maria, Joanna's sister, had a successful career in the army and ran her own IT company later in the future. Unfortunately for her sister, she did not have the same fate. Joanna performed well academically. It wasn't until later she began to have trouble. She began experimenting with drugs and alcohol. At 15, she started a relationship with an older man. She gave birth to their first child at 17. Together, they had 2 children. As years passed, she started to neglect her children. She was self-harming and developed a hatred of her own mother. She claims she had no interest in motherhood. She attempted numerous burglaries, which landed her in juvenile detention, and her relationship with her older man soon failed. I tried looking up the age of this older man and what age he was when they first met, but I was not able to find that. She attempted numerous burglaries, which landed her in juvenile detention, and her relationship with the older man soon failed. In 2012, she was convicted and detained for theft and was under psychological testing, which resulted in a diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder. She was given mood stabilizing medications, which she began taking. By 2013, she was out of control, homeless, alcoholic, addicted to drugs, and with no contact with her family and her 2 children. Kevin Lee, a 48-year-old man who rented rooms to people who were vulnerable and in need. Joanna met Kevin and rented a room from him. The 2 even started a romantic relationship together. Kevin started using Joanna as an enforcer to collect rent from other residents who had not paid their rent or had been late or refusing to pay at all. She enjoyed the fear and the control that came with this new role. With now a roof over her head, an income, and a new friend, and a newfound power as the enforcer, she stopped taking her medications, thinking she no longer required them, which was a big mistake. The first victim, a Polish man, Lucas Slabosewski, a 31-year-old man who moved to the UK to find work, met Joanna in town and started a relationship. On March 19th, 2013, he received a text from Joanna inviting him over. He eagerly agreed, and the 2 of them began drinking alcohol. She then blindfolded this poor man, Lucas. He thought it was a game. He thought they were just having fun. While he was blindfolded, Joanna held the knife to his heart. Then, without a second to waste, she plunged it into his heart and watched the life pour out of Lucas. When she finally realized what she had done, she knew she couldn't move the body on her own. She called for reinforcements. Gary Stretch was a known criminal in Peterborough. He had previously known Joanna during the previous months. Joanna, Gary, and Leslie Layton, a friend of theirs, arrived at the flat she was renting and moved the body into a garbage dumpster outside another apartment block and left it there. Gary and Leslie showed no signs of horror in the actions Joanna took upon Lucas. Days later, the 3 returned with Gary's car and drove to the countryside after obtaining Lucas's body in the garbage dumpster and threw Lucas into the ditch alongside the road. The second victim, John Chapman, had also rented a room from Kevin. John, a Falklands War veteran and an alcoholic, had been charmed by Joanne, and soon she found herself in John's flat, both sharing a drink together. When he passed out, after having one too many to drink, with the same knife in hand that claimed her first victim, she then took John's. With 6 stab wounds to his cheek and neck, Joanna called upon Gary and Leslie again to help her dispose of the body. John was disposed alongside Lucas's body in the same ditch. The motives were unclear. She did not rob them, torture them, or demand anything from her victims. It's speculated it was the thrill she desired and the empowerment taking someone's life. Hours later, after her second murder, she was looking for a new target. On March 29th, 2013, she invited Kevin Lee, her landlord, to her flat. Kevin was aware of her dominant personality, but fancied her company. Later that night, as the two enjoyed themselves that evening, Joanna insisted Kevin put on her dress. But then, when Kevin was least expecting it, Joanna stabbed him repeatedly in the chest. Within minutes, he was dead. Kevin was dumped in a similar ditch, 7 miles away from the other two victims. She positioned Kevin in a humiliating pose, with his rear sticking up, laughing and joking as she imagined him being found in such a placement. In 10 days, Joanna took 3 lives. No one reported John or Lucas missing, unlike Kevin, who had a family. The next day, Kevin's body was found by a member of the public. An investigation was launched into Kevin's history and lifestyle, and Joanna became a person of interest. Joanna and Gary fled in his car to Norfolk to continue her reign of terror. On April 2nd, 2013, they committed a robbery and in the process of trying to sell the stolen goods, got an old contact of Gary's involved. Mark Floyd found himself mixed up in all of Joanna's evil deeds. Mark agreed to help sell the goods, but intended to call the cops as soon as they left. Joanna laughed about the murders and discussed the victims with Mark. Quote, Joanna saying, "I'm a killer. I want my fun. I want to have my fun. I want to do mine," Mark had recalled. As they drove around the streets of Norfolk, Gary pointed at a man, a 64-year-old Robin Bereza. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Within minutes, Joanna got out of the car and plunged a knife into this man's shoulder and repeated the process again. This time, a 57-year-old man, John Rogers, stabbing him 40 times and stealing his dog. 64 Robin and 57 John did survive the attack. Both victims stated the perp had a star tattoo on her face. Police quickly linked these reports with the previous 3 murders back in Peterborough. She was arrested along with Gary. On May 8, 2013, she was charged with the murders of Kevin Lee and the attempted murders of Robin Bereza and John Rogers, the 2 men they found on the streets. On April 3rd, 2013, the police found the ditch containing the bodies of Lucas and John. The police soon started to make a connection back to Joanna. Joanna was subsequently charged with all the murders. Joanna showed no remorse. During her court hearing, it even looked like she was grinning in court. On November 21st, 2013, she pleaded guilty to all charges. Mark Lloyd, the one who she tried getting help from to sell her stolen goods, testified against her and was not charged with any charges. Joanna became the 3rd woman in history in the UK to receive a whole life sentence. Gary Stretch also received a life sentence. Leslie Layton received 14 years for his involvement. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll definitely see you next time.